Most women today have stepped into the role of the hunter, and men have reached a point where survival requires the instincts of prey. Before you click away assuming this is an angry rant, pause for a moment. This isn't about hating women. It isn't about rejecting relationships altogether. It's about recognizing the environment you're operating in so you can move through it intelligently. The game has changed. The incentives are different. The laws are different. Yet many men are still playing by outdated rules, making life-altering decisions based on idealized fantasies instead of observable reality, and paying for it with their money, their sanity, and their future. This is about how to navigate modern dating without getting destroyed. It's about awareness, strategy, self-protection, and ultimately taking full responsibility for the outcomes of your choices. Let's begin with how selection works today. In modern dating, many women have become extremely selective, not necessarily in the ways men expect, but in ways that primarily serve their own interests. That isn't immoral. Everyone has the right to be selective. The issue arises when men don't understand what they're actually being selected for. Here's a pattern that repeats endlessly. A woman in her prime often avoids men who already have children. She doesn't want the responsibility of raising someone else's kids or navigating the complications of blended families. That's rational. What men fail to see is this. That same standard will later be applied to them. If you have children from a previous relationship, you instantly disqualify yourself from a large segment of the dating market. Your past decisions don't disappear, they follow you. At the same time, many career-driven women prioritize independence and security over building something jointly from the ground up. They aren't looking for a partner to struggle and grow with. They're looking for someone who fits neatly into a life they've already built. That changes what they expect from you and how much they're willing to give in return. None of this is evil, but if you don't understand it, you'll waste years chasing women who were never going to choose you for the reasons you believed. Now let's talk about money. How much of your income can vanish before you even realize it's gone? A man with a strong salary often assumes he's financially comfortable. But after taxes, child support, alimony, and the cost of maintaining a household, his actual disposable income can be shockingly small. I've spoken with men earning six figures who have less financial freedom than someone making half that with no obligations. On paper, they look successful. In reality, they're working to support other people's lives while barely sustaining their own. What makes this dangerous is that many of these obligations stem from decisions made years earlier, when they were younger, more trusting, and less informed. They thought they were building a family. What they actually did was lock themselves into decades of mandatory payments with no authority over how that money is used. This isn't about abandoning responsibility for children. It's about understanding the system before you step into it. The structure is designed to extract resources regardless of your circumstances. Your income increases, your payments increase. You lose your job, you'll still owe, and reducing those obligations is slow, painful, and often impossible before debt accumulates. Men who understand this early can plan around it. Men who don't become trapped in financial systems they never consciously agreed to. What makes it worse is the cultural expectation that men stay silent. A man drowning under financial pressure is expected to keep working, keep paying, and never complain. If he speaks up, he's labeled bitter, irresponsible, or accused of not loving his children. The trap comes with a muzzle. Understanding the system isn't about escaping responsibility. It's about not taking on obligations you cannot sustain. It's about knowing the full cost before signing the contract. Here's a harsh truth that needs to be spoken. The legal and social framework allows situations where some women can receive financial benefit without proportional contribution. Child support is meant to help children, but in practice, the money goes directly to the custodial parent with little oversight. There is often no requirement to work, no accountability for spending, and no obligation to share custody equally to receive full payments. This creates an incentive structure where pregnancy itself can become a financial strategy. Not all women think this way. Most don't, but some do. And if you can't tell the difference, you're exposed. A man who doesn't understand this dynamic believes he's building a family. In reality, he may be funding someone else's lifestyle for nearly 2 decades, with limited legal recourse and no guarantee of meaningful access to his own child. This isn't paranoia. It's incentive analysis. Systems shape behavior. Some people exploit those systems. Your responsibility is identifying them before you're legally bound. Men also tend to invest in relationships in ways that create vulnerability. They invest time, years of it. They invest money, often beyond their comfort. They invest emotionally, opening parts of themselves they don't expose anywhere else. They invest identity, becoming her man, instead of remaining their own person. All of this is done with the expectation of future return. The danger appears when a man gives too much too early, betting on a future that hasn't been earned. He ignores warning signs because he's already invested. He doesn't want to lose what he's put in. Then the relationship ends, as most do, and he's left empty, emotionally drained, financially weakened, socially isolated. He sacrificed friends, hobbies, and opportunities for a future that never materialized. The answer isn't to never invest. It's to invest proportionally. Match effort. Match commitment. Match energy. Don't build your life around someone who hasn't proven they belong in it. Watch reciprocity. When you give, does she give back? When you sacrifice, does she meet you halfway? If you're always the one carrying the load, you're being used, whether intentionally or not. Healthy relationships feel balanced. Both people feel valued. If you constantly feel like you're working harder to keep it alive, listen to that signal. Experience teaches men to recognize predictive patterns. Some red flags are obvious. Chaotic past relationships, financial recklessness, unstable friendships, constant conflict with family. Others are subtle. Listen to how she talks about her exes. If every breakup was entirely the man's fault, accountability is missing. Notice how she reacts to minor inconveniences. If small problems trigger emotional explosions, serious ones will be worse. Observe how she treats people who offer her nothing. Waiters, staff, your friends. That's the version of her you'll eventually see. And trust your intuition. That uneasy feeling isn't random. Your subconscious is processing data your conscious mind is ignoring because you want things to work. Men who get destroyed almost always sense the danger and chose to ignore it. They believed love would fix it. It won't. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Here's a practical framework. Watch how she handles money, conflict, and disappointment. Money reveals whether she builds or consumes. Conflict shows whether she resolves or escalates. Disappointment exposes emotional regulation. You don't need tests. Just observe life. Does she expect you to pay for everything? Red flag. Does every disagreement turn into a crisis? Red flag. Does she fall apart when things don't go her way? Red flag. These behaviors intensify with time, not improve. The most critical survival skill in modern relationships is boundaries. Not preferences. Not suggestions. Boundaries, enforced consistently. Financial boundaries. No early financial merging, no funding lifestyles, no co-signing, no shared accounts without legal protection. Emotional boundaries. Keep your friendships, interests, and identity. Total absorption isn't love, it's control. Family boundaries. Don't create children casually. This decision is permanent. Pay attention to how she reacts when you enforce boundaries. Respect indicates maturity. Resistance indicates manipulation. The moment she learns your boundaries are flexible, they cease to exist. Another major danger is falling in love with a fantasy. Men imagine potential instead of reality. They commit to what could be rather than what is. When reality disappoints them, they feel betrayed by promises that were never made. Base decisions on behavior, not hope. Judge the relationship as it exists today, not what you imagine it might become. If you wouldn't accept it exactly as it is forever, you're gambling on change. That gamble usually fails. People largely remain who they are. Men repeatedly destroy themselves by ignoring evidence. They marry cheaters, trust financially reckless partners, and have children with women who already resent motherhood, then act shocked when the pattern continues. The information was always there. The cost of denial is brutal. Divorce, financial collapse, years in court, broken bonds with children, depression, even suicide. This isn't fear-mongering. It's seriousness. The stakes are too high for blind optimism. Survival in modern dating requires strategic thinking, especially early on. Romance without strategy ruins men. Treat the early phase as evaluation. Control the pace. Observe reactions. Track patterns. Maintain independence. The first year is data collection. If she's right, your independence won't threaten her. If she's wrong, you'll be grateful you kept it. The strongest protection is self-development. A man who is physically capable, financially stable, emotionally grounded, and socially connected has options. He isn't desperate. He doesn't tolerate disrespect. He chooses, instead of being chosen. This development must be real, not an act. Build your finances for freedom. Build your body for confidence. Build friendships for stability. A full life doesn't cling to draining relationships. Understand this. Emotions change. Love today doesn't guarantee love tomorrow. That's human nature. Men fail when they assume permanence and stop improving themselves. Relationships decay without maintenance. Stay prepared. Stay valuable. Stay engaged. Marriage and fatherhood are the highest risk decisions a man can make. They should never be entered casually. Marriage binds assets. Divorce follows formulas, not fairness. Children bind you forever, regardless of relationship outcomes. Only commit when you're fully prepared, financially, emotionally, strategically. There is no deadline. Waiting is cheaper than recovery. Every destroyed man thought he was different. None were. The patterns repeat because human nature repeats. Your protection is awareness and discipline. Maintain your identity. Enforce boundaries every time. Understand incentives. Stay adaptable. Keep a life outside the relationship. These aren't signs of distrust. They're signs of maturity. Ultimately, responsibility rests with you. Not the dating market. Not women. Not the legal system. You choose who you commit to. You choose what you tolerate. You choose whether you protect yourself. Blame solves nothing. Ownership changes everything. Modern dating is a hunting ground. That's not bitterness, it's observation. Some are hunting for connection. Others are hunting for resources. Your task is knowing the difference before it costs you. You don't have to be prey. With awareness, discipline, and self-respect, you become the one who chooses. And that power has always been yours, if you're willing to claim it.